on CJ's Knits, we are doing the full button neck warmer from the man who knits, Paul Heaton. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to do a neck warmer from Paul Heaton today. I'm going to start with figuring out my width, my length, and putting in a cast on fold. I think today's project will be 24 left, 24 right, and I'm going to mark for buttons. Today's project is a garter bar project or garter carriage project. I don't need a lot of weight. See a little error in my name here. Action to the trick. I'm now done with this carriage, and we're going to do a close-up. Okay, I'm going to install my garter carriage now. It's not too fancy. We're going to do an E-wrap, tension 9. Turn my machine on, press Memo. Okay, there you can see I had to adjust till I found the oval. That happens sometimes. My yarn is now inserted. Okay. $0.99. Circular. Single direction. Casting on. Tension 9. Pattern is there. Single direction. Casting on. Tension 9. Pattern is there. I'm now putting in the edge markers. I like the look of them. marker inserted. Turning off remote. Disengaging. Bring it back into garter, all around. I'm going to do 18. Reset. I'm going to let it go now. I'm going to move the camera in a little closer. There you go. I've had a lot of complaints about a lack of sound, so here's my solution. This entire project has 365 rows. Thirty-six of those rows are going to be a 3x3 garden. It takes about a minute per row, so I'm looking at 365 minutes to knit most of this piece. I will be stopping this project to mark for buttonholes. Wow. Okay, they're going to be mock buttonholes. So for button placement, the buttons are going to be placed at 12. Nope. 18 to be placed at 12. Nope. 18 and 6 left. 18 and 6 right. I am not going to be so cruel as to make you watch this entire video minute by minute. As soon as I start the regular knitting pattern, I'm going to stop this video. Okay, we're going to mark for the buttons. All right. So now, as I said, I'm going to mark at 6 and 18. So 15, 16, 17, 18. this on it, and restart. Okay, now we have the last row of this type of knitting. We are now going to swap this to single direction, and we're going to stop it as soon as we get all the way across and enter in our next pattern. Okay, remove this yarn and let this continue. And off again. Okay, we're going to change direction back. Change direction on the garter carriage. Make sure we are outside the turn mark. We're going to transfer a new pattern. So we're going to cancel 552 step, step. Okay, that's the pattern we want to use all the way across. We're now going to move our garter carriage back. We're going to let it do it itself. Okay, I'm going to bring the yarn back into it. The reason why I do that is so that I don't have such a long yarn tail to deal with. And there's less possibility of leaking. I'm going to let this pattern work itself out for over 300 rows. And I'll make another video when we get close to the end. Okay, we are now close to the end of the project. This is the last couple of rows of the garter carriage. I'm going to swap out the pattern for the 3x3 garter that I've used. After 9 rows of that pattern, I'm going to do another set of button markings just in case I change my mind as to which of the ends will be facing forward. I like to remove my yarn from the garter carriage so that I don't get long loops on the sides. I always make sure that my garter carriage goes to the outside turn mark when changing pattern. I did notice that the feedback on my video is very irritating, and I am doing my best to mitigate that problem. I've also noticed the 2 black spots that are now in my camera footage. I am also taking care of that problem. There are 18 rows in the 3x3 garter. And like I said, at row 9, I'm going to mark for the full buttons. To save myself time, I pre-made the loops and I just put them on the gate pegs. (18 and 6). So there's 12 stitches between. Okay, I'm now done with my garter carriage. I'm just going to latch tool this off, but I'm going to use a very elongated latch tool. So I put yarn on each needle and I pull the needle all the way back. And leaving enough of a yarn tail for seaming. I'm removing all of my weight before I latch tool off. So it's just a loop through loop bind off. It's just the loops are extremely long so that it's really loose. I don't like it when my project is squished together when doing something like a scarf. The loops may be a little bit bigger, but when the project is washed, they disappear. Like everybody, I do struggle.
Sometimes my yarn gets caught in the little latch. Sometimes it doesn't come off the needle. You just work with it. Because of the length of the loops, I can actually take it off and finish up those last 4 stitches that always fall off the needles anyway. Okay, now we're going to go to the assembly. I have 4 toggles for my buttons. Paul says to seam up the sides, so I'm going through the side of one end and of course the end of the end. So for each of those elongated loops, I go through the long bar on the side, so going through the knit, not the purl. And it's 1 long bar for every loop, which kind of works out to the rectangle shape of most knitwear. My camera quality, as usual, does not do any justice, but I think you all kind of get the idea as to what we're doing here. If you use a blunt needle, the blunt needle will go easily through the long bar and you will struggle with a short bar, which is how I know that I'm in the long bar, not the purl bar. Try and be consistent as to which side of the loop you grab so that you have a flat and consistent seam. I had to play a lot to get what I wanted for these buttons. There is no hard and fast rule with these because they're not functional. They're just decor. I tried up and down and then I went with side to side. The beauty about not tying a knot is that I could pull it apart really easily. It's that easy. I think what I didn't describe is the fact that I took the yarn markers and I fished them with a crochet hook to the front of the work so that I would have a front and a back to work with when putting in my needles to sew it together. I like the look of that, but I knew I could do it better. Because of the way that this is seamed up, you don't have to worry about tucking in your yarn tails. Just make sure your seam is flat. I went with about 3 stitches for each toggle. Back through to lock it in so that there's actually 4 strands holding the toggle on. I don't go all the way through the back. I stay in the little sandwich part and then I just tie a knot. This was mystery yarn, so I had no idea if it was wool or acrylic. We did the burn test. Smelled like human hair. Did the wash test. It didn't felt. So I'm going to go with it's a really, really bad acrylic. There's all the buttons. That's what it looked like on the person. This is going to be a very nice late Christmas gift. If you like this project but don't want to knit this project, order one from Paul Heaton directly. A link to his website is in the description of this video.